This week, Google is going pro, Zoom is going to settle, and Amazon is selling a smart soap dispenser. Oh my goodness. But wait, there's more later. Those are some of the tech news stories from this week, and it's Friday, August 6th, 2021. My name is Kirk Corliss.
And I'm Scott Ertz.
And this episode 93 of the GNC Week in Review podcast, proud partner of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. We are streaming live at gncweekly.com/live. So please be sure to say hello in chat or comment. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to the GNC WIR channel on YouTube. If you missed the live video, that's okay. You can always catch the replay later. If you are a listener, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We can find in the right-hand side column at gncweekly.com, be it Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. If you have a comment, be it on social media or email, and all those links can be found at gncweekly.com/connect. So it's been a couple weeks. We were off and had engagement. Scott had some things that he had to do. So it's great to be back.
It is.
And the podcast awards nominations, I guess, or trying to get us on the nomination slate is closed. So they will announce the nomination slate on
Sunday.
Right. Sunday night at 6 p.m.
Just before my show.
Right. So I'll definitely DM you if I find out, and I'll
in the past we have watched when Todd used to do like the live nomination show. We would watch it while prepping our show. The timing always worked out.
Mm-hmm.
He did it one year during our show, and I told him to never do that again.
So Todd is down in Nashville for Podcast Movement. So there was no. If you were wondering,
it's been fun watching his photos.
I know, right?
There's one I saw just a few minutes ago that made me laugh. It apparently made him laugh, and we're not going to call anybody out here.
Right. No, I know exactly. Yeah, I saw it too. I was busting out laughing when I saw
there's a very funny banner happening.
Yep.
Everybody in the industry is getting a good chuckle over, except them. They have no idea.
Right. Yeah, so... that's if you don't know, well, I don't know if you follow Todd or not, if our regular listeners or Geek News Central listeners and viewers will probably get the joke. So it's pretty hilarious when I saw that. But yeah, he'll be back for his regular show on Monday, this coming Monday evening at roughly around 7:30 Eastern time on Monday. So awesome about that. So we'll find out, we'll find out if our podcast or F5 Live is going to be on the slate. So keep fingers crossed. So I'm rooting for both of us. So whoever comes out on top, I'm happy either way.
I have been telling everybody I want top 10 because I want to be listed on the website for the next year. I don't care so much past that, to be perfectly honest. So the SEO value of being listed on that website for a year is everything I'm excited about.
Agreed. I'll be happy. Either way. If we're in the, if this podcast or F5 Live, I'll be happy either way. So it'll be really cool to be nominated. The old saying is, the saying goes, oh, I'm just happy that we're just nominated, and they just profess their love for the other nominees or the other winners. So whoever wins, I'm happy either way. So
for sure.
All right, cool. All right, so we're going to jump in the news this week. Top story this week, which is awesome, I think. After months of rumors of Google's next Pixel from everywhere, from leaked photos, from everywhere, speculations were running amok over the past few months. The Pixel 4 was what the Pixel 4 was a yawn. Pixel 5 was a yawn. So Monday, Google said, "Hold my beer." They announced
after that intro, it suggests that they said this one's going to be a super yawn.
Right.
which is not the case.
No, it's not. The Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro are coming this fall. The Register, along with others, is reporting they were offered a glimpse of the gear. There's no official specs that have been released. It's also being reported that the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro looks like your standard high-end 6-ish inch aluminum frame smartphone. The Pixel 6 Pro is expected to sport a 6.7 inch 120 hertz screen, 5G connectivity, and a raised bank of cameras on the back that includes a wide angle main sensor and one with a 4K optical zoom telephone lens.
4X.
4X, excuse me. What?
Letters.
Right, letters.
Damn alphabet.
Right. It's been a couple weeks, guys. The Register was told the Pixel 6 Duo will use Google's homegrown system on chip called Tensor. This is said to include a mix of CPUs and GPU cores, which could be and likely are licensed from other designers, plus Google's own custom AI acceleration engine.
Which is why it has the Tensor name, because Tensor is their AI platform. TensorFlow is their AI platform.
And there's been a lot of talk of that over the past several days.
I wonder what they're going to use it for.
And that's also been talked about that as well. The Google has experience in this area with its TPU machine learning cores for servers and network edge devices. It appears that Google has made a mobile version of its TPU technology and stuck it into a system on chip to boost the performance of certain apps running on its Pixels. For instance, the Register is saying that we're told from Google, quote, Google's computational photography models and speech processing code. This is like thinking for voice commands, dictations, and translation will benefit from hardware.
Being able to move some Google Assistant stuff off the cloud and onto the device. It's a good idea, especially as Apple's coming under pretty intense scrutiny for privacy issues.
Sans Apple too. Google hasn't said who they're working with to see the chip through to manufacturer. It could be Qualcomm. It could be Samsung. There's been a lot of talk about that. Leaning toward people
More
are
likely to be Samsung.
Samsung, right? People were leaning towards Samsung. The Pixel 6 and 6 Pro will also support a Titan M2 security chip. This is a follow-up to earlier Titan chips in Pixel phones. Google is claiming its latest Pixels will have, quote, the most layers of hardware security in any phone. This goes to privacy, and claims it's been checked by an independent third party. Pixels are also among the first in line to get Android security updates from Google. As for the user interface, the new Pixels will run Android 12 as Material U system, which promises automated color settings and a better system menu, and not much beyond that. And there's some interesting. The Material U design language actually has some interesting changes. I've been researching it for a project I'm working on, and the design language does have some changes, and I think most of them people are going to like, but there are some that people are already complaining about. Well,
we'll see.
We'll see. Excuse me. And the Pixel 6 and Pro 6 will come in 5 Classic Deluxe. And this is the Register reporting this and writing this. So so take it as it is. High quality designer luxury premium select gourmet colors, which is beyond me, and price at the premium end of the market.
I think that means that they taste good.
Again, this is Register reporting this, and so that's something I would
from an operating system whose naming convention has been sweets for its entire life.
Right.
I would imagine that it would taste good.
Well, I remember seeing on, I think it was XDA developers. Okay, it was P. I think we're now in Q. So R. I think it was, they said, I don't know if it was not Red Velvet. It was Red Velvet was one of them. Oh, I can't remember what the hell the name of that was. P was Pi, Q is Quince, R. I remember seeing it on xdadevelopers.com, the name of it, and I
I just
can't.
saw it recently, about a week and a half ago.
Okay.
I'm looking it up.
Okay, good. Because it's on the tip of my tongue, and I remember reading it, and he was, there's some unique desserts over the years. There was
Oreo.
donut, Oreo. Let's see, there was cupcake.
So S is snow cone.
Snow cone. Okay.
But users on Android Authority said that Sunday would have been a better name than snow cone.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but what the hell was R? I can't remember what R was. R was like, I think it wasn't red. I can't, for whatever reason, I'm thinking of red velvet for some reason. Oh, it's going to kill me now. So if any viewers know or listeners know what R was, if you let us know.
Or would run a little faster. I'll have it for you in a minute.
Okay.
It was 2 lines out of the answer box.
Yeah, there's cupcake, donut, eclair, Oreo, gingerbread, honeycomb,
red velvet cake.
That's it. Okay.
Red velvet cake.
That's
it is red velvet.
Okay. I knew it was, I was 99.9% sure. And okay, good. Okay. So I was right. All right, cool. Okay. Yeah. There was like a lot of iterations. So
obviously it's important to remind our listeners and viewers that they no longer use those names publicly.
Right. That stopped after P.
After 9,
yeah.
10, 11, and 12 are just going by their version numbers.
And I liked
with no space, by the way. It's important to note the official branding does not have a space between the name Android and the number 10, the number 11, and the number 12, which annoys me to no end. And
I love the Easter eggs over the years. The Easter eggs were great. They were really the one, I think, that had one was what was that that really annoying game that people like play incessantly in an Easter game where they try to escape the tower, not the towers, but the poles or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but it was ongoing and it was really frustrating. Oh, well,
it sounds like an infinite runner of some sort.
Yeah,
I don't know which one in particular.
There
are so many infinite runners. There's a Sonic themed one. Disney's launched a dozen of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Neither is this, by the way.
Right. Right. So but I'm looking forward to it. And as listeners and viewers know, I've been wanting to get this new Pixel because I was not getting the Pixel 4. I wasn't going to get the Pixel 5 because the camera and the processor sucked. They're coming out with the Pixel 5a supposedly.
They were like super iterative,
and they were using the same camera over the past 2 to 4 and 5, and the processor sucked. There's like it wasn't great quality as far as the build quality is concerned. So I'm looking forward to this phone.
I hope that stupid orange stripe is real. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and I love it.
It's real.
Excellent.
It's real. It's real.
So stupid, and I love it. It serves no purpose. It makes it stand out way more than it should, and I love every bit of it.
And its unique design.
As somebody who has owned many Nokias over the years, and therefore many phones in candy colors galore, I love a phone that stands out for no purpose other than to stand out.
Agreed. And if you see, like, if you go to, well, we'll have the link up in the show notes. There's a photo of the phone setup, but on the back, it has this, the camera bar is raised a little bit. And there's a lot of questions on, like, if you lay it down, is it going to be, some reporters and some tech journalists, were wondering if it's going to be wobbly or not. And, I think it's different. I think
that means that they've held an iPhone in the last couple of years.
Right.
Right. Because I'll tell you, this stupid camera bump right here makes the phone super wobbly.
Yep.
You put it down and it's like, ooh, dance time.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Thank
So
goodness for my duo.
right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I'm cashing in. My birthday was this past Sunday, so I'm cashing in my birthday now. And I know my wife is watching, and she is. I'm let her know I'm buying. If it's going to be a little pricey,
It's
I haven't
coming.
upgraded. It's coming.
Be ready.
Right. I have my contract with Verizon. I'm due for an upgrade. It's been like that for the past couple of years. So yep, I'm all in. I am all in. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait. All right. Other news this week. Jen Thorpe, who's a staff writer from geeknewscentral.com, posted on Tuesday that Zoom has agreed to settle a lawsuit over Zoom bombing. This is coming from the New York Times. More specifically, Zoom Video Communications has agreed to pay $85 million.
I don't know.
And improve its security practices and settle a lawsuit claiming it violated the privacy of its users. For those of you that have been working from home or have kids at school learning from home because of COVID-19 are using Zoom, and to no one's surprise, there was hackers decided to engage in Zoom bombing by accessing Zoom conferences they were not allowed to enter.
Which, by the way, everybody made too easy, including Zoom, because they're like, oh, I've never been on a video conference before. And so people were taking pictures of their conferences and sharing them on Twitter. Well, the room code is in that picture, you morons. And half the time, all I need is the room code to join, because most people don't password protect their meetings. So people were just scanning Twitter looking for photos of Zoom meetings and entering whatever room number was there. Dumb.
Right. And there's
it
also
shouldn't have been there. And I complain about this with Google Meet too. The room number shouldn't be on the main screen because of that. So Zoom shouldn't have allowed it to happen. The people shouldn't have been taking photos as if, oh my God, a video conference. It's 1998. I'm shocked. I've never been on one of these before.
Well,
such a weird time.
Well, also too, and I can speak from experience. My daughter was learning from home learning from home with internet, and a lot of the teachers didn't know how to use Zoom or Google Meet, and I think everything
password protect them.
That too, and but also too that they basically said, okay, here's Zoom, here's Google Meet, throw it at them. I had to show them one of her teachers, how to use it, how to have a good strong password, things of that nature. And she was like so grateful that I helped her out, and I said, it's no worries. I'm very well versed in these products, and
it's what I do.
Exactly, but I feel bad for a lot of these teachers that
were
basically
just thrown in.
Exactly, without proper training to show them how things work. Not to mention, on the security issues as far as with this happening, to better prepare themselves for it, and
I know here
really...
teachers had a weekend to go from in school to online learning to figure it out. They had Saturday and Sunday. That's it. Good luck. Bye-bye. That's not enough.
No, it's not.
I mean, you or I could teach a class that way tomorrow because we've used these things before.
Right.
But I mean, it was clear it wasn't just teachers. Let's be clear on that. It wasn't just teachers, because there was some courtroom somewhere that somebody came in and started playing porn on the Zoom call.
I saw that.
Oh,
I saw that.
I mean, not quite as great as the gerbil lawyer or whatever the hell that was.
I love that one too. That was great.
That was my favorite. That wasn't Zoom's fault. That was his fault, but still. Oh, I don't remember what it was. It wasn't a gerbil. It was something else.
It was a cat. It was a cat, and he said, "It's me. I'm not a cat.
I'm not a cat."
And the secretary on the side was trying to show him off camera, showing him how to turn it off. In the filter.
Quote of 2020: "It's me. I'm not a cat."
Show title.
Oh, talk about an attorney, like classic lawyer.
Right.
That they have to clarify everything. And the first thing he clarifies is that he is not a cat.
Right.
Thanks, buddy.
Right.
We wouldn't have figured that one out on our own. Thanks for that.
You win. and I saw on Twitter that I mean my Twitter feed was blowing up when I saw that, and there was different memes. Oh, I was rolling. I felt so bad. I felt bad for that guy. Oh my goodness.
And then the fact that it happened so close to that abomination that was the Cats movie. There were so many screenshots of that movie in its broken state, where you could like see Judi Dench's human hand in her wedding ring.
I saw that too.
And people were sharing those with the caption, "It's me, I'm not a cat." Oh, amazing. The internet sometimes is wonderful, mostly is horrible, but
there's some few bright spots, and again I think we got our
"This is me, I'm not a cat." That was a bright spot in a dark era.
Right.
A pretty dark era of human history, to be perfectly honest. Certainly of modern history.
Yeah.
Oh, the best.
Again, I think we got our show title. We definitely got our show title. So if you're watching live with the show title,
his name's a lie.
Right. The show title, well, we'll get that right. We'll get that updated. So when you see in your feed, you'll see the new. You'll see the show title. So we're not going to spoil what in the upcoming block of news. So because
I'll back on this particular topic. I think I think that 85 million is not enough. I think the idea that the majority of people are only going to get a $15 compensation. I don't think that's appropriate, because I had 2 meetings that I didn't want to be part of that happened entirely in Windows Sandbox, because I don't trust Zoom. I think I had 2 meetings hijacked this way, and nobody shared the call room, the room number. So people were, I guess, just entering random numbers and occasionally getting in, and that must have been what happened with us. But in reality, this was annoying. But the thing where they created a security glitch on Macs, that's the thing that they should have been sued for, and everybody ignored it like it was normal. It's the reason why I won't install Zoom on any device that I have, because I don't trust them, because they literally broke Mac OS and made it so people could remotely access your camera even after you uninstalled Zoom. How do you even do that?
Yeah, I don't have. Well, my company uses Blue Jeans, and when it comes to if I ever have, there's always a meeting. I would usually probably use Skype, or occasionally I think I've used Google Meet maybe once, but for the most part I use Skype, so which is pretty reliable.
I understand why.
Yep.
Like, why would they use this? I work in the industry and I've never heard of this. Oh, that's why. Got it. Continue.
Okay. So, in the other reporting that according to the New York Times, 14 class action complaints were filed against Zoom video communication in the spring of 2020 over Zoom bombing. Reuters reporting that subscribers in the proposed class action lawsuit will be eligible for 15% refunds or their core subscriptions, or $25, whichever is larger, while others could receive up to $15. And Gadget is reporting that lawyers intend to collect up to $21.25 million in legal costs. So
25%.
Right. So the lawyers are getting a bulk of the money. In March of this year, Reuters reported that U.S. District Judge Lucy Koh in San Jose, California, dismissed several claims in the proposed class action, including invasion of privacy, negligence, and violations of California's consumer and anti-hacking laws. She allows some contract-based claims to proceed. Engadget is reporting that Judge Lucy Coe said Zoom video communications was largely protected against Zoom bombing claims due to the Communications Decency Act of Section 230. It is the part that safeguards platforms against liability for user actions.
Kind of.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of a gray area.
Because it's being misused.
Exactly. So, but the lawyers are getting
5%.
That's
but in fairness, they did take essentially 14 class actions and bring them down essentially into one main claim and got that claim to win. So, they do deserve a good payout. And their agreement to do all this was probably 25%. So,
well, they're still getting,
it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. They're still getting paid like handsomely, so
unless they agreed not to take any money up front and only take a percentage, in which case, we have no idea how many man hours went into this.
Right. Well, you can kind of tell, but
class actions are expensive to run.
Yeah, but in layman's, I think. Well, I don't know if some lawyers. I'm not going to throw lawyers on the bus, but I think there's some lawyers that I understand that are do it. Some pro bono, some are going to ask for
not something like this one.
Pretty much, yeah.
This probably took an entire firm to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to remember something that Avram said on our show this past week. He said, while $1 million might be life-changing to you as a person, it is not to, say, Amazon, which is why they got hit for that huge GDPR fine.
Speaking of Amazon, good segue, Scott.
Oh, good.
And this is where this is going to get.
I don't even know what to do about this. I've read ahead. I don't even know what to do about this.
And I wish I had some props. And we're going to explain to you why. Amazon has quietly introduced a new smart soap dispenser that works with its Alexa voice-activated system. This has been spotted by AFTV News. The gadget includes a set of 10 LED lights that will count down as you wash your hands for 20 seconds recommended by the CDC to keep germs and harmful bacteria away. As an Alexa gadget, you can also pair the smart soap dispenser with a compatible Echo device to access a supporting Alexa routine. That's an optional feature. And P.S. the dispenser does not include a microphone or speaker. Depending on how far...
I seem to remember Google saying that a particular Nest thermostat also did not include a microphone and lied about it.
Right.
So we're going to trust this one, but verify. Somebody's going to take one apart. We're going to trust but verify.
I'd love to see that. Now, depending how far underneath the nozzle you hold your hand, the device will provide you with more or less soap from its 12-ounce reservoir. The closer you place your hands in the nozzle, the less soap it will dispense. The smart
seems
soap
counterintuitive,
right? And this is why my example about a prop comes with 802.11n Wi-Fi and a micro USB port for when you need to charge the device. Amazon says the internal battery can last about 3 months on a single charge. Excuse me. You can order.
Right, here we go. Everybody brace yourselves because the stupid gets real right now.
You can order it now. And this smart soap dispenser is $54.99.
I bought phones for less than that.
Okay. Here's my thing, and I was going to bring a prop, and I was going to show it on camera. And I'm going to try. And if you're okay, I'm going to bring my hand here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you have the smart dispenser in your hand, and a soap dispenser in a home you buy at Walmart or what have you maybe costs $2-3. You can, if you really wanted to count down a timer, 20 seconds.
It might come with soap in it.
Right. Okay. So you have if you weren't worried about like a timer, so you go to your phone, go to timer, and count off 20 seconds. and you saved at least what? $45. Congratulations. Or count 20 seconds ahead.
I have to try something real quick. Let's see. How do I... It's interesting that I may not be able to use Alexa properly from the Alexa app.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully it won't figure it out. All my speakers are
Alexa, count down 20 seconds. I don't know if it's doing it.
I don't hear anything.
Alexa, count down 20 seconds.
Timers and alarms are not currently supported on this device.
Okay, so if you that's fine. It's just that's the mobile app.
Oh, okay.
Instead of an actual device in my hand, which is fine. But that means that she knew what I was asking.
Right.
She knew what 20 seconds meant.
Right.
So if you've got an Echo Dot close to you, which this talks about,
right. Yep.
You can just ask it to count down 20 seconds and save yourself $50. What are we doing here? Oh, I'm sorry. You are going to have to go. That might be worth the $50.
But here's the kicker. You have to. I mean, if you have a soap dispenser in a home or in or anywhere, and if you need to like move it up or down or your hand side to side, that's
yeah. Has anybody ever used an automatic soap dispenser in a public restroom and had it work? I'll wait. Bueller? No, because they never work.
Right.
They always do weird things.
Right.
We've got one at the gym and like throughout the gym, and you kind of have to dance.
Right.
It's the dumbest thing.
I do the same thing. Like in my building, there's soap dispensers, and I hold my hand up, and you have to press on the thing. It's like, and I'm pressing it. There's practically no soap that's coming out, so I'm like, I have to bang on it to
Maybe
get
your hand's too close. Maybe you got to get further away to get more. You have to get further away to get more. It's so stupid.
It is.
It's backwards.
If
you're gonna do it, wouldn't you want more if you're close? Whatever. If you're further away, isn't it going to splash? I don't care. Whatever. This is the dumbest thing. This is going to go down in their list of dumb Alexa powered stupid things.
I agree. Because it was most mind boggling.
This and the wall clock.
And right. I remember that exactly. Yep. We talked about that a few months ago. That's
damn wall clock. What stupid.
This is the most. Again, to save you some.
This is more expensive than the stupid wall clock, and it doesn't have Alexa built in.
Right. So for those that are listening right now or watching live, or you catch the replay later, please, I beg of you. I love Amazon. I purchase items from Amazon. I think they're great. I'm got a lot on my list, to purchase. That this is not one of them. This is definitely not one of them, because I guarantee you, if I buy this, my wife, because her and I have a shared account, Amazon household account. If I buy this, my wife is going to like rip me a new one.
Rightly so. I would too.
Right.
Because she's going to email me.
She
be
will.
Like, he bought one.
Yep.
And then we will trash you on the next show.
Yep.
Hard.
Yep. So I beg of our audience, and I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Please. There's plenty of soap dispensers out there that come with soap that you can count to yourself. If you cannot count 20 to yourself, or use a timer on your phone, or
make your home assistant to count down 20 seconds.
There
or
you
your
go.
phone. I bet Siri would do it if I asked her to.
Yeah, So please.
Let this be the next Fire phone.
Oh, I guarantee it will be. I guarantee it will be.
Where years later we'll be making fun of it. Okay, so in reality, let me say, if you've got small children in the house, this might be a way to introduce some gamification into washing your hands. It was one of the things that Avram wanted to do he was looking at using one of the Raspberry Pi Picos to try and build something to kind of gamify washing your hands, because kids are notorious for not doing that. So, I mean, there are places where this might have some value, not $55 worth of value, mind you, but there are some places where a concept like this, not this, $55 is ridiculous, but a concept like this might have some value. I can see how you get there, especially if you're marketing to kids, but that's not what they're doing here. It's important to note. It's got Echo Dot integration. It's not marketed to kids. They're trying to market to you and I, and it's insane.
It is insane. And I think, and if for those that are, we would love to know what your thoughts are about this. I would love to hear about it. You know, just
if you think we're crazy for being upset about this,
agreed.
Please tell us why. Tell us why we're wrong.
Definitely gncweekly.com/connect. Definitely on Twitter, or on our Facebook page. Because if we're wrong, call us out on it. And if you think this is a great buy, let us know why. Because I'm really curious, because there is no way on this godforsaken earth. I'm sorry, I didn't get to walk up. Right. All right. Well, speaking of lunacy.
Oh, good. Is it going to be one of those shows?
Yeah, it's going to be one of those shows. And I think with
Amazon
this,
have another crazy idea.
Right. I think with this is going to be in our top. You know, this is going to be in our top 5 or 10 for the year of stories of the year, because this is this is another lunacy beyond compare. Now, Amazon is offering a $10 in promotional credit to get people signing up for its palm print payment system. TechCrunch spotted the promotional offer. Amazon launched Amazon One last fall as a contactless way of authenticating purchases and allowing entry into stores using a biometric device. Since then, Amazon has expanded the system to 53 of its physical retail spots in places including New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Texas. You can find the tech at Amazon Go convenience stores, Whole Food Markets, Amazon Go grocery, Amazon Books, Amazon 4-star stores, and Amazon pop-ups. Shoppers can enroll on Amazon One at those sites by pairing their credit card and mobile number with one or both of their palm signatures. The signing up process is the only part that requires you to touch the device. After that, you have to hover your palm over the scanner to enter a store and complete purchases. The promotion also requires you to link your Amazon account with your One ID. If you're concerned about the privacy concerns, Amazon's aware about that. Now, to calm those fears, the company has promised to secure palm data using encryption, data isolation, and dedicated secure zones with restricted access controls. For those worried their data could be monetized, it also is committed to keeping palm data separate from other Amazon customer data.
That doesn't change anything. Continue.
Right. And also the Amazon is saying that a subset of, quote, anonymous palm data is used to improve its system. And this data is, quote, protected using multiple layers of security controls. Amazon has also pledged to delete the data if you cancel your Amazon One ID and you haven't interacted with one of its palm scanners for 2 years. I'm sorry. I mentioned this before on previous episodes, and I think there was one about Amazon having about scanning your entire body to find the right shirt size, the clothes. And I said on that episode, I'm saying it now. We mentioned it before. We said it on the CES pre-show with Abram and everyone on the pre-show. I'm not giving my palm to Amazon. I don't care if it's $10. I don't care if it's $1 million. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
What the hell is Amazon thinking? That should be the show title. What the hell is Amazon? That is going to be the show title. What the hell is Amazon thinking?
I don't. Biometrics is obviously a very touchy subject. No pun intended.
Right.
Because you hover. Anyway, the concerns around biometric data have been around since Disney started using it at their parks for season ticket holders. And, there are a lot of concerns, especially for something like Amazon, who's talking about data encryption and data isolation and dedicated secure zones and all that. And none of that matters because it has to know how to link to your thing to give information about your account, which means you can try and pretend that biometric data is isolated all you want.
Right.
But some part of the system still has to touch the other part of the system to be able to make the link and to make the authentication. So it's not isolated. I mean, yes, there's the surface area of attack is smaller, but not gone. It still exists. And biometric readings, especially ones as detailed as an entire palm, if you can pull that apart and get a finger, well, now you might be able to get into bank accounts and all kinds of stuff. No.
Well,
on device stuff, I'm generally okay with. If you want to use the on device, fingerprint reader on your Surface Duo or on the power button on the iPad, which, honest to God, guys, why aren't we all doing that? Everybody steal that from Apple. They've been stealing from you for years. It's time to steal one back. Or the iris scanner on the iPhone or the Samsung phones or whatever. All of it's fine because it's all processed on device, which might be part of what the tensor chip for the new Pixels is all about, is improving that process. But as soon as it has to connect and remotely authenticate, which is what this has to do, otherwise they have to push every time you register, it has to get pushed out to all the stores, which then gives you a whole new area of attack. No part of this is going to be secure. And the fact that they're saying that it will be, that's the part that scares me because it's a lie and I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, not to mention what it kind of also too is that a lot of the Amazon Go stores, they have like multitude of cameras. So, but they're also, what's to say, like going in that store, you get in their palm print, you're going to be watched coming in and out, and they know who you are.
They've got facial recognition.
Exactly. So
facial identification. I'm sorry. They've got facial identification on you.
Exactly. So it's like they know you going in, going out, and on top of that, they got your data both ways.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah,
not a fan.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, because I use it with my Pixel, I have the fingerprint, and I try to use with PayPal and all the other apps I use. It's very helpful. I love it, and God forbid, someone steals my phone, and if they happen to go into my PayPal account or my Google account, I'm covered. I'm protected. Yeah. But by going into going to that store, I haven't been in one of those stores. I don't know where there's one near me, but I'm not. I'm sorry, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Not. Yeah,
I'm generally not a fan of biometrics as a whole. Again, if people want to use it on your devices, I get it. I'm fine with it. And I've used it on some devices over the years. I generally prefer a PIN, but I've used it. But something that's literally network connected.
Yeah, the pin's fine too. That's always, and also 2FA it helps as well. So, all right. Other news this week. Microsoft. This is in your wheelhouse, and being a Microsoft guru, which is kind of interesting. And I sound kind of funny as well, which is odd. Microsoft said on Monday it plans to run an experiment in its Edge web browser, where it will intentionally disable an important performance and optimization feature in order to enable more advanced security upgrades and what the company is calling Edge. This is actually true. This is fun. Funny. Super duper secure mode. And this is actually real. It's called that. Jonathan,
should definitely be said by a Valley girl.
Super duper secure mode, like for sure. This is one of those weird shows.
Yeah.
Jonathan, I love it. Jonathan Norman, Microsoft Edge vulnerability research lead, announced the idea behind the new super duper secure mode is to disable support for JIT, or just in time, inside V8, the Edge browser's JavaScript engine. JIT, if you most don't know, plays a crucial role in all of its today's web browsers. JIT works by taking JavaScript and compiling it to machine code ahead of time. If the browser needs the code, it gains a significant speed boost. If it doesn't, the code is discarded. However, JIT support in V8 is complex. Norman said JIT-related security issues amounted to more than 45% of all V8 vulnerabilities in 2019. Furthermore, more than half of the, quote, in the wild Chrome exploits rely on JIT-related bugs. Norman said
it's important to remember that Edge is now based on Chromium. So that's why that piece of information matters here. And in the old days, Microsoft would not have compared security bugs in Chrome to what they're up to, but they do share a lot of common code base underneath.
Got it. Okay. All right. So Norman said that recent tests carried out by the Edge team have shown that despite its pivotal role in speeding up browsers in the early and mid 2010s, JIT is not a crucial feature anymore to Edge's performance. Encouraged by these findings, Norman said the Edge team is now working on super duper, this is a tongue twister, super duper secure mode, an Edge configuration where they disable JIT and enable 3 other security features such as control flow enforcement technology and arbitrary code guard, 2 features that will normally clash with V8's JIT implementation. As Norman explained, super duper secure mode is currently classified as an experiment and are no plans to set in stone to ship to its user just yet. However, while super duper secure mode does not have a certain future, the feature is already live and ready for testing. Users of Edge, Canary, Dev, and Beta can go. There's a link in the show notes where you can go to the address and enable it in their browsers. So we'll have a link in the show notes where you want to check that out for super duper, to enable super duper secure mode. So is this
I like hearing you say it?
So being the Microsoft guru, is this helpful for users that are using Microsoft using Edge browser? Is it worthwhile?
I'm turning it on right now, and I will tell you in just a moment.
Okay. Live demo.
How I feel about it.
Okay.
Because I know how long our site takes, which has some pretty heavy JavaScript stuff on the homepage. And I did not see a performance difference. Obviously, it's just eye-based and nothing scientific about it. But obviously, I spend a ton of time on our own website, so I know about how long it usually takes to load. I didn't see any noticeable speed difference. The just-in-time stuff was essentially an idea. JavaScript used to be run as is, which was a disaster for so many reasons, because it meant that you could easily inject new JavaScript into the page, and that meant that that things would choke, and you could change what the code did and what the website did and turn a good page into a bad page. A lot of that stuff still exists. The just-in-time idea was if we compile the code ahead of time, then changes aren't all that important because we've already compiled it. But not so much the case anymore, because at this point, if you make a change to the code programmatically, it just recompiles. Why? Because compiling JavaScript is not the heavy thing that it used to be. And you're probably running, if you're listening to Avram's advice from this week, you're running a laptop with 16 gigs of RAM. And so, what's a couple of extra milliseconds in order to add other important security enhancements, right? Which is what this is all about. The control flow enforcement technology, the CET, the arbitrary code guard, which is kind of designed to look for and not compile code that's not ever being called and things like that, or things that have been knowingly altered externally, things like that. There's a lot of extra security that can't happen with just-in-time enabled. So it's an interesting test. I have absolutely enabled it on this computer in my beta browser. I look forward to exploring and seeing if I get mad at the internet this way. But I will tell you, so far, it does not look like I'm going to. It does seem like it's working well. And again, our site has a lot of JavaScript on it for some interesting features, and I don't see it choking.
Okay.
Do you think? I'm not going to lie. The upstream feels like it's loading faster.
Interesting. So do you think maybe this is coincidental, but with Windows 11 in beta right now, are they using this are they tying this in maybe to Windows 11 as a complete
as part of the security push,
right?
Like the TPM chips being required for Windows 11. It could be. It could also just be a sign that the company is putting more emphasis into security.
Okay.
It could simply be that. I don't know.
Okay.
But anything that they can do like they said, it's an experiment. And Microsoft runs a lot of experiments, a lot of them around security. Some of them come to pass. Some of them are never heard from again because they either don't enhance security, they make it worse. Things happen.
Yeah.
And so they're running an experiment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, and we'll see if I'm like giggling like a schoolgirl with the super duper.
It's the dumbest name ever.
It is.
Yeah. It's a whole night of dumb.
Right.
What are these people thinking?
That's that's going to be the show title. That's going to be the show title. All right. Other news this week. Oh my goodness. Apple has placed senior engineering program manager Ashley Gigovic, and I'm mispronouncing this person's name, I apologize, on indefinite administrative leave, after she tweeted about sexism in the office. Excuse me. The company is currently investigating claims Gigovic made about a hostile work environment. She said in an interview with The Verge, quote, "For months, I've been raising concerns with Apple employee relations about years of experiences with sexism, a hostile work environment, sexual harassment, unsafe working conditions, and retaliation. I asked them to mitigate the hostile work environment while they investigate, and they initially offered me EAP therapy." Now, for those who don't know what EAP means, it's employee assistance program, and medical leave. I told them that made no sense and said they should talk to my leadership and set up oversight and boundaries. I added that if there was no other option, they could give me paid administrative leave. They apparently made no effort to set boundaries. Instead, they were placing me on administrative leave and implied they did not want me on Slack, where I had been vocal about my concern with certain policy of the company. They also implied that they didn't want me to meet one-on-one with other women in the company about the concern with Apple policies, which I have been doing. On Wednesday, Giovic sent out an out-of-office message informing colleagues that the employee relations team had placed her on indefinite paid leave. This is the second time Apple has investigated Giovic's claims about sex discrimination at the company. The employee relations team closed an earlier investigation, allegedly finding that nothing was wrong, prompting Giovic to tweet screenshots in what she says is a small portion of what she experienced. Apple did not immediately respond to requests for comment from The Verge. So she voiced her concerns initially, wanted to handle everything handled in-house. It sounds like on the surface that Apple basically did not want to hear her concerns, and she tweeted about it, feel like she was wronged, and she got busted for it. So the question is
Apple as woke as they say they are?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, because I know, like, with my company, there's some problems. We reach out to EAP, we voice our concerns, and then they go through a third party, and usually 9 times out of 10 things are resolved. But this instance, she voiced her concerns, made suggestions, goes unheard.
They went
ignored.
No big deal.
Right. And then she felt like she should voice her concerns on Twitter. She tweeted about it, and there's a link in the show notes. Right. And there's like a slew of screenshots on her concerns. And I think what Apple did was wrong. I think she did everything. She did everything right, and in the end she got punished for it. So
I am not going to take a position on this because I don't have enough first-hand information. Obviously, everything we're doing here is third-hand.
True.
I don't have enough information. I am inclined to believe trust but verify. We'll use that again. I tend to take a trust but verify approach to any kind of claim like this. Apple is known for being a pretty lefty company who takes stuff like this seriously, and it seems like for them to have closed an investigation saying that nothing had happened definitely makes me feel a little weird about it.
Right.
If all of the facts of the story are correct, Apple screwed up.
Right.
But knowing Apple as a corporation, the chances of them brushing off actual acts of sexism seem
right.
It's all smoke and mirrors with Apple. So they have an actual spaceship as a headquarters. It's all smoke and mirrors with Apple. It's all about appearance and not necessarily about reality.
Right.
So, I mean, there is that possibility, but
right.
As an outside observer, they're not the kind of company to brush something like that off. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah.
The fact that the employee relations team placed her on paid leave is interesting. I suspect that the next step here will be that Apple will bring in a third party, especially since the story is big enough that we're talking about it.
Right.
And if they truly do believe that their first investigation was correct, then the next step is to bring in a third party to prove that they were right.
Right. Well, I think there should have been a third party in the beginning.
Anyway.
Yeah. That should have been, I think that if there was a third party, this would never come out.
Yeah, we wouldn't have known about it.
Exactly. But for her to, I just think, I mean, there's a lot of, we don't know exactly, also too, we don't know what happened prior. And Apple's been known to be in a lot of controversial with security and privacy, and
they've put themselves in some weird places.
Yeah,
but when it comes to the woke topics, racism, sexism, that type of thing. I mean, Tim Cook is not the kind of guy. He has multiple times put his customer base in jeopardy over statements that he's made that have been super controversial on the very woke side. And so, the expression "go woke, go broke," and he was not worried about that at all in making big statements. So, but again, it could be all smoke and mirrors. I may not believe any of what he says. I don't know, but I mean, he did come out as gay, so he might be. Who knows? He might be super woke. This could all be smoke and mirrors. There's all kinds of possibilities here. Without more information, without third-party investigation, I don't trust either side of this.
Yeah, well, and like
I said,
it
comes down to neither side of this makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's just me. I think I'm leaning towards, I think that, she spoke about it internally, did everything that she could. And then, when all else fails, and a lot of times, like when with social media, with Twitter, you go directly to the source. If you feel that you're wronged, go to that. And if you feel that you are not satisfied, absolutely go on Twitter
or you use social media to create an anger mob. Either way.
Right. I know. I always believe that, with social media, I always believe because if I'm wrong with something, I don't go on Twitter and Facebook, and I'm not rarely on it, but I always go to the initial source. If I was wrong with something, I would reach out to that person or company and say, look, here's what happened. What can you do? And come to a resolution. That doesn't work, then yeah, I would definitely go on, but I wouldn't, get the pitchforks and torches out.
Right. I mean, we all remember what I did when that horrible bank, Current, stole a very small amount of money from me. I set them on fire. I told them that I was going to get my money back from them either in cash or in blood, and I decided to go for blood because they wouldn't give me the cash. I made that $50 or $100 or whatever it was cost them way more than that. But anyway, I definitely understand that. But then on the other hand, there's the woman that worked for the state of Florida as a web designer, and she tried to take down the governor by making up stories about how she was a data analyst and how he was trying to silence her and all that. Big claims. She went to Twitter. Turns out, none of what she said was true, and she might go to prison for hacking a federal computer system.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
So, I mean, there is precedent for taking a nonsense story to Twitter in the hopes of creating a narrative that doesn't reflect reality. Right. So, with that said, I don't trust either party in this story yet.
Yeah.
Until a third party comes in and does an investigation. I don't trust what either of them say. My guess is it's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't know, but I think that, again, I think initially, from what I think, it would be. If
this story is exactly as written, yes, she did everything right and Apple did everything wrong.
Right.
But this story is written a little biased.
Yeah.
in the facts, and does not at all talk about the fact that Apple does not have a history of this behavior. So
right. But also too,
there's some concerns there.
But also too, Apple, they did say they didn't respond to it for a comment. So
I wouldn't either, because this is going to turn into a legal.
Good point.
They need to keep their mouths shut.
Good point.
She's going to sue.
Good. Absolutely.
And Apple needs to keep their mouths shut. They can't respond to this story.
Yeah. But
they can't give any information publicly, because this is going to turn into a long legal battle.
Good point.
Guaranteed. Because that's why she took it to Twitter.
True. That's I mean, that's the old saying, the court of public opinion. So
yeah,
I just
she's trying to put together an anger mob before she sues, which is I understand. There are whole legal PR firms that help you create the anger mob before a lawsuit happens. So I think it's sleazy.
Yeah.
I don't know that she's hired one.
No.
The tactics are very public at this point. There's an episode of Boston Legal about it. That's how public the tactics are. And that was canceled in what, 2008?
Yeah. Good show. It was a good show. I liked it. I like that show. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
This is not a short-term story. This is something that we will be following up on.
Yep.
Potentially, depending on how Apple responds to it, potentially for years.
Yeah, we're definitely going to keep an eye on this and see what happens, and we'll hope for whatever happens. All right. The other news this week, a lot of technology companies reported their second quarter earnings. There was a lot, and we're not going to get into all of them because it'll take us until wee hours in the morning. One was from Uber. They beat their estimates on the top and bottom line and turned an unexpected one-time profit during the second quarter. Shares dipped more than 4% after hours trading.
Uber I so badly need to see these numbers because
this is interesting.
They bought Postmates this quarter. How could they have possibly turned a profit?
Yeah.
For the first time ever in the company's history. How is this the quarter that they turn a profit after buying Postmates?
It is a shocker.
I have to see these numbers.
The earnings per share, 58 cents versus an expected loss of 51 cents. Revenue, $3.93 billion versus $3.75 billion expected. Uber reported a net income of $1.1 billion for the quarter. That was largely due to unrealized gains of $1.4 billion in Didi. Didi is a company that's engaged in the mobile technologies platform. And $471 million in Aurora, who is a self-driving startup.
Okay.
Shares of Didi have dropped about 37% over last month. However, shrinking Uber's stake in the company by $2 billion last week. Uber's operating loss was still $1.19 billion.
Okay, so the idea of them turning a profit is a little misleading. So it's because of investments in something else,
right,
that they turned a profit, but they're still massively in the red when it comes to operating their business.
Right.
Okay. So if they were a venture capital firm, they would have had a very nice quarter. But as a company that delivers people, food, and other things, they still stunk out loud.
Right.
Got it.
Right. So its adjusted EBITDA loss was $500 million, down to $150 million from the prior quarter.
Down by $150 million from the previous quarter.
Right. But an improvement of the $328 million from last year.
Okay. So they're year over year, they're getting better, but last quarter was better.
So for those who don't know what EBITDA means, it refers to earnings before interest, taxes, and depreciation and amortization. Uber reaffirmed its expectations that will reach profitability on an adjusted EBITDA basis by the end of this year. CFO Nelson Che said in a letter to investors, quote, "As we make progress towards that important milestone, we expect our adjusted EBITDA loss in Q3 to improve to less than $100 million, in addition to record gross bookings between $22 and $24 billion. Also, there was a statement from Uber. I can't get the person's name. Full name. In Q2, we invested in recovery by investing in drivers, and we made strong progress with monthly active drivers and couriers in the U.S. increasing by nearly 42,000 from February to July.
420,000.
Right, 420,000.
Even bigger than 42,000. That's a lot of new drivers. I would like to know if that includes turnover, any churn, because I know a lot of people that aren't driving anymore.
Right.
So
Yeah, the company did not provide exact number of drivers, but Uber is optimistic and about growth rates after the company made heavy investments in bringing people back. The company added 30% more drivers in the U.S. from June to July.
wow.
Also in the statement, quote, the good news is we're now in a good place. We're able to pull those investments back. The investments were big, but the investments were worth it. Uber reported 1 billion trips on the platform, up 4% from the first quarter and 105% from the year ago quarter. Uber says its drivers and couriers earned an aggregate $7.9 billion during the quarter. So that's good.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, with this the pandemic slowly, I guess, on well, it's winding down or not, but you know, they're still making money. Of course, they're also in the same breath they're losing
spending
money.
way more than they're making.
Right. Right.
But so, in fairness, so did Twitter for nearly a decade before they turned a profit. And now they have. I don't know that they've ever paid that back. It also took Google, I think, 6 years to break even on the YouTube purchase. Some businesses are just expensive to get off the ground.
Yeah.
And obviously this one's one of them, because if your user growth rate is too high compared to your driver growth rate, you're going to hurt your business. I was listening to a really great interview the other day where they were talking about that there was a point where their business was so successful that it almost ended their business. And you know, it happens, right? Where you're so successful in one part that you can't gear up the other thing. And a business like Uber has two very important aspects: the customers and the drivers. And if the quantities are out of sync, yeah, a lot of customers and not enough drivers could put them out of business. So it's an interesting situation. So it's good to see that they feel they're getting comfortable with their number of drivers, and that they're paying well.
They're paying well, yeah.
$8 billion in payments. And we've been doing a little bit of research into the way all of that works around here, and that's a lot of drivers. I can tell you, based on how much I know drivers are making, $8 billion in the quarter. That's a lot of drivers.
And they're doing well. I mean, again, with this, with pandemic, you know, and people looking to get extra money, or not extra money, but second source of income.
Yeah,
you know, good on them. Definitely good on them. All right, next up, the FCC has released its first ever mobile broadband coverage map. The tool allows you to compare the LTE and voice coverage of the coverage areas of the country's 4 largest carriers, showing where you can expect to see wireless download and upload speeds of at least 5 megabits and 1 megabit, respectively. The data on the map is accurate as of May 15th, 2021. You can use the tool to compare what coverage looks like in your area, away from the often misleading and confusing maps offered by AT&T, T-Mobile, US Cellular, and Verizon. The tool is a result of last year's Broadband Data Act, which requires the FCC to collect and release robust data comparing different wired, fixed wireless, satellite, and mobile broadband service providers. To compile the map, the FCC collected standardized propagation information from the carriers. It also asked the public to help. The agency says, quote, "This map provides a preview of how the mobile data the FCC will collect under the standards set by the Broadband Data Act will look when mapped. Never before have maps been created using these new standardized mobile data specifications, which will improve the uniformity and consistency of broadband availability data collected by the FCC." So, and I'm waiting for 5G near me.
I will tell you, that it is running real slow right.
And you froze.
Oh,
And you're back.
my internet went away. I will tell you, it's running real slow right now, but apparently it might be the internet connection.
Hmm. That's what happened. That's what happened 2 weeks ago when you went F5 Live.
I just swapped internet connections and it's still taking forever. So
Okay.
Oh,
right.
This is not going to be very consumer friendly. It already has 4 little windows. It's not a great starting point.
Well, it's the FCC and also how the government works. So take it as you go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So let's see. Okay, my AT&T coverage is 100%. My T-Mobile coverage is 100%. My US Cellular is probably nothing. Yeah, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
And then Verizon is 100%, as expected. Yeah, absolutely no US Cellular coverage, which is not surprising to me because they're not in this market. Which is why I was surprised when you said 4 major carriers, because I was thinking, the 4th major carrier went away recently. It became part of the 3rd major carrier.
Well, I'm checking mine right now and seeing.
I would like to point out that it only lists LTE. It does not. It does not list 5G at all. So, interesting.
Well, let's see. With me, my area. Just gonna excuse my hands. I definitely have to get a better camera, hopefully soon.
I'm messing with you. I'm doing it right back at you, just so you know.
Okay. Okay.
I was wiggling my fingers in my camera, just like you were doing yours.
Oh, okay.
For those of you who are listening, that probably sounded very weird.
Right. So don't mind that. So just watch the video, you'll see it. Okay. So back it up. This is okay. Screw it. I'm not gonna. This is weird. Okay. Very odd. Okay. All right. Moving right along. So speaking of other tech companies that reported Q2 earnings, Roku easily beat Wall Street forecasts for second quarter 2021 earnings, posted record 81% revenue growth.
Wow.
But however, the net number of new active users fell shy of analyst expectations. What's more, the total number of hours streamed fell by 1 billion hours from the prior quarter. Total net revenue grew 81% year over year to $645 million. And Roku reported net income of $73.5 million or 52 cents per diluted share. On average, Wall Street analysts expected Roku to post Q2 revenue of $618.5 million and EPS of 12 cents. Besides the slowing account growth and drop in streaming hours from Q1, Roku reported a negative gross margin for its hardware business of negative 5.9%. The company blamed higher component and shipping costs and Roku's decision to eat those escalating expenses by, quote, insulating consumers from increased costs for Roku players. Roku.
That was nice. That was nice because as we've talked about, chips are getting harder to find, which means the cost of producing these things is going to go up, which of course means that theoretically the retail price of these things should go up. And what Roku's saying is we decided not to do that and to eat it ourselves.
Yep.
So, I mean, investors may not be happy about that, but their revenue and their profit is up. So, I mean, they've definitely got a loyal fan base. There's one right here. I just add a frame with our logo on it. You know, they've got loyal customers. It's It's interesting that their profit and their revenue are up, but their actual usage is down.
Down. Right.
Makes you wonder where the revenue is coming from, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Roku shares were down 8.5% in after-hours trading in Q2. Roku's active accounts reached 55.1 million, an increase of 1.5 million active accounts from Q1. Morgan Stanley analysts expected Roku to end the quarter with 56.2 million accounts. Meanwhile, streaming hours on the Roku platform for Q2 were 17.4 billion hours, a decrease of 1 billion hours from Q 2021, or about 5% sequentially.
5%.
Right. Q2 net adds, quote, Roku said in a letter to its shareholders, quote, were higher than pre-COVID levels in Q2 2019, but as expected, lower than the pandemic-related surge of Q2 2020, excuse me. The company blamed the sequential decline in streaming hours on consumers seeking, quote, increased out-of-home entertainment activities such as dining and travel in Q2 as a result of pent-up demand and loosening of COVID-19 restrictions, which PS, my wife and I and they went out to dinner for the first time in a year and eight months. So my daughter's birthday. So, it was glorious. It was glorious. Citing Nielsen's measurements, Roku claimed it still, quote, significantly outperformed the TV industry in the most recent quarter. Roku's streaming hours increasing nearly 19% globally in Q2 year over year, compared with a nearly 19% decline in traditional TV. So it was, I think more and more, people are, instead of at home, binge watching.
Right.
And so it's good that they're doing well. They're doing well, but, I imagine that their numbers are going to, like, when it comes to Q3, they're going to see maybe a shift on their subscriber growth. Maybe less, maybe we'll see.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. All right,
and,
so
they've got all kinds of interesting new content. They bought Quibi,
right,
and so all that's now available on their platform, officially the middle of last month, I think.
Yeah, yep, and hopefully they have some good content on there that's watchable.
Reno 911.
Okay,
that was all I
Good
cared
example.
about with Quibi. I used my 7-day free trial. I watched all the episodes and then I let it expire. It was the only thing on there I cared about.
Yep. All right. So if you're listening to this podcast on Spotify, thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and listening. Now, Spotify, if you may or may not know, offers users a paid and free listening tier. The former will give users features like offline listening, playing songs on demand, skipping songs. It basically lets them do whatever you want with the service. The free version, however, limits on what users can do, and users will have to put up with ads.
More like Pandora.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Spotify thinks that they may have found a solution to get people to start paying. According to a discovery from The Verge, it seems that Spotify is testing out a new subscription tier that will cost just $1 a month. This is versus the current pay tier that's priced at $9.99 a month. This particular tier will still come with ads. That users will be given more freedom in how they listen to their songs. For example, users will be able to pick and choose the songs they want to listen to, and they can also skip as many songs they like. The free tier is limited to 6 tracks per hour. However, before you get all happy and excited, Spotify told The Verge that there is no guarantee that the subscription will launch for the masses. According to the company, quote, some tests end up paving the way for new offerings or enhancements, while others may only provide learnings. We don't have any initial information to share at this time. So,
such a European word, learnings.
Learnings.
It's a European company, so it doesn't surprise me that it would have such a European word in there, but it's still funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is obviously what this is Spotify seeing what some of the other services are doing, right? HBO Max now has, I think, a triple tier option. Peacock famously launched with its triple tier option, and Peacock is setting the trend in that regard. Obviously, taking what it learnings from Hulu in the old days, and we're starting to see that business model in more places. And I think it's probably a pretty good idea, even though HBO Max isn't like free, or even Peacock free $1 and $10. Peacock is free $4.99 and $9.99, I think, and HBO Max is something and 15. I don't remember what the numbers are.
Speaking of
it's
HBO,
a good idea, I think.
Well, speaking of HBO Max, there's a good documentary I encourage you to watch, and I'll tell you about that when we get off air. Okay. But I think this is and I have Spotify downloaded. I only use it occasionally, but when it comes to the skipping, it's similar. It is similar to Pandora. However, with Pandora, is you watch an ad and there's a button that you can listen for an hour. So Spotify has 30. I'm pretty sure it's 30 minutes. So if it was for me between the two, I usually go with Pandora. Well, I listen to a lot of the apps, even including Amazon Music. But for me,
gotta love that Prime Music.
Exactly. But also with Pandora, they also intertwines with SiriusXM.
Right.
So, which is a good deal as well, because I listen to
the parent company.
Exactly. So, so Spotify, I don't know. I mean, I use it occasionally. I listen to it about maybe a half hour, maybe, but I don't know if it's worth if they're going to come out with this, give it a shot, maybe.
It's an interesting idea. Of course, this is completely unrelated. We've talked about Pandora. T-Mobile customers and now Sprint customers, remember, you get ad-free weekends now.
Right. Yep.
Which is pretty cool. So they're all kind of trying things. I think that's the point, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's trying stuff. I've been saying for the last year and a half that all the streaming services are going to have to start looking for a hook, something to set them apart. Some of them have content that everybody wants or that enough people want. Disney Plus is a great example, right?
Right.
They've got enough content that enough people want that's their hook. But in some cases, you've got to get creative. With the music, you got to get creative, super creative. Tidal went and did the 24-bit audio instead of 16-bit or whatever.
And look how long that lasted.
They're kind of owned by T-Mobile now, which is so weird because they were kind of owned by Sprint. And I imagine that came over in the purchase, because T-Mobile customers apparently, or Sprint customers for sure, still get Tidal for free or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't do it.
But they're all trying things, right? They're all trying to separate themselves. There's Q-Buzz or something that's trying to be a Tidal competitor. But they stood us up at CES, so I don't know. The other Q company to stand us up at CES was Quibi, and we know where they are. But everybody's looking for a hook, and when you're talking about music in particular, unless you can get exclusives, which only piss off customers, as Tidal learned, having exclusives actually hurt their business instead of helped it. How do you separate yourself? Well, with business models, that's how you separate yourself. So we're going to see more experiments like this across the industry, I think.
And it's good on consumers because they have they have a choice, and they want to see what their dollar goes to and their entertainment.
Absolutely.
Because again,
this is what T-Mobile did to the wireless industry, right? The wireless industry was real happy how it was, and then John Legere said, "I'm going to try something crazy," and the whole industry changed the way it worked because everybody had to compete with T-Mobile all of a sudden.
Yeah, it should be interesting. We talked before we came on. I still want to do a pre-show. That Mike Seifert going to be keynoting. They're going to be at the keynote for CES. So I'd love to see what he thinks about.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, and finally this week, now there's let me go here. There we go. Nope. Ah.
Oh.
Okay.
What just happened?
Let's try this again. There we go. Okay. Finally this week.
Suddenly my camera frame changed.
Sorry.
Not in a good way.
Right. Finally this week, now we have robots in some shape or form.
Oh no. Robots in disguise.
We have robots in some shape or form. They do clean do drinks, move pallets, and so on and so forth. There you go. So now this is on CNET.com. So if you're watching live, you're listening on audio, there's a website on CNET.com. There's a new beach cleaning robot that's being deployed in Florida. And I'm going to pull up the video.
I heard about this.
I don't know where in Florida, though. It doesn't say. But if I tried, this is not going to load. Fantastic. So let's try this. Nope, it's not going to load. Okay, fantastic. All right, so we're going to go back to my screen. So there's a new control robot called the B-Bot, and it's helping keep Florida beaches clean. And if it all goes well, there's other 29 B-Bots manufactured that can help clean additional beaches, resorts, and more. They're noting on our website, quote, walk any beach or coastline around the world, and you're bound to encounter some form of plastic pollution. This is for Ocean. This is the marine cleaning company that purchased B-Bot. Plastic waste isn't just an eyesore that impacts tourism and local economies. It's also an environmental hazard that can harm wildlife and degrade crucial coastal ecosystems. B-Bot is working its way around beaches in South Florida at the moment, but another B-Bot will soon be deployed to Hawaii to, quote, support local partners and existing cleanup initiatives on the island of Oahu. For Ocean says the sole purpose of B-Bot is to clean and restore the world's coastlines while also preserving the natural beach environment. It's not fully automatic like Roomba, but it's in remote control by someone. According to B-Bot manufacturer Paralu Marine, this is for safety reasons, as the machine will likely be often in the vicinity of beachgoers. It can be controlled remotely from up to 300 meters away. So while it isn't automatic, it'll look autonomous to those near it. And I was trying to show the video, but the video wasn't loading, so I apologize. So the B-Bot can silently and discreetly clean up to 3,000 miles of beach an hour, depending on the topography. It's 100% electric, doesn't require fuel. So that's pretty cool. So a robot that cleans.
How much can it do?
2,000. Let me go back. 3,000 M2. This is from their website. So 3,000
square meters.
Square meters. Okay, thank you.
I was going to say 2,000 miles. An airplane can't do that.
Right, 3,000. Right, 3,000 meters. Right,
square meters.
Sorry.
Okay,
square meters. Right. Okay. Math sucks.
Oh, that is way less terrifying. I don't want to see a robot go pew across the beach.
Right. Yeah. So pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great. I like that they're taking the automated machine, whatever that thing is, right? Mm-hmm. We're seeing more and more of it and applying it to places that we may not have initially considered. Mm-hmm. I may not have considered the beach, although I have seen water cleaning, oil eating little mini robots, which I think is awesome.
So, yep, pretty cool. So, all right, and with that, that is the tech news for this week for Friday, August 6th, 2021. Thank you so much for tuning in. For this week's episode, show notes from this episode can be found at gncweekly.com. Also, be sure to check out the latest tech news and commentary from geeknewscentral.com, and be sure to tune in Mondays and Thursday evenings at geeknewscentral.com/live for the Geek News Central podcast. And then be sure to tune in and watch and tune in at gncweekly.com/live Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So please be sure to like and subscribe to the GNCWIR channel on YouTube. Also, make sure to click on the bell and always select notifications so you will not miss the next episode. Also, be sure to share this episode with people you know to check out the podcast. And also be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast app. And be sure to tune in to F5 Refreshing Technology with Scott and Aaron Pilch Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at f5live.tv/join us. Or be sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app. Comments on this week's episode, we would love to hear from them, especially if you're wishing to get a smart soap dispenser or want to get into super duper secure mode. Love to hear from them all. Head on over to gncweekly.com/connect and connect via email, Twitter, or Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm at Kirk Corliss. Scott is on Twitter at TTMABO. Till the next episode of GNC Week in Review. So long.
Ciao.